Serpentine returns to the races. He's lining up in the Tattersalls Cup, a race over the 2400 metres, a Group 3 race at set weights and penalties, which sees him getting in well at the weights here. Looks to be a nice race for him. Thought he's trained on particularly well since his most recent run. On that occasion, things just certainly didn't go right for him from the outset, but he's been back to the trials since, and he usually does race well with his runs spaced. So I expect him to put in a much better performance for us come Saturday. Still Strike was certainly most impressive, winning his maiden race last start at the Canterbury track. I do think stretching out to the 1400 metres is a big positive for him. He showed nice natural speed there, but I think he'll be able to find a better rhythm over this distance. I think he'll appreciate the big Eagle Farm track. No doubt he'll take plenty of confidence off that most recent win. He looks to have trained on well, settled in nicely to the surroundings at Eagle Farm, and I think he looks in good shape. I couldn't have been more impressed with I'm In to Win in his return to the races last start. He remains at the 1500 metres here, and I think he looks well placed and ready to show improvement off the back of that first up performance. May have just peaked on his run there, so no doubt he'll be much fitter. Certainly feel he looks well placed here and be hard to beat. Russian Ronny's returning to the races off what was a pleasing second trial. Had the blinkers on that occasion. That really sharpened him up. So expecting them to do the trick on Saturday for him. He looks in good shape. He's going to the races fit and well. I expect him to run a very honest race. Bear on the Loose is a very interesting runner for us. He's making his Australian debut over the 1800 metres. Had a couple of nice trials to prepare him for this, so I feel he's going to the races in good shape. No doubt he'll continue to improve off whatever he does on Saturday, but I do think he's a nice horse with plenty of progression, so he looks well placed and be one that I'll be very interested to watch. Zufori is going well this campaign. May not read that way in the form guide, but certainly I feel she's training much better than what it appears. We just haven't quite had the right conditions. 1400 metres is a suitable distance, although she's up in grade here. She just wasn't able to handle the heavy conditions last start on the Kensington track. So the conditions on Saturday will be certainly important to her chances. Want to see her on very much an improving track. Ha was excellent at a first up run this campaign. She was over a distance that was short of her best, and although the 1400 metres may still be a touch short, I do think she'll be better for that first up performance. She'll be a mare that you can continue to follow, particularly once she gets out over that mile plus distance. I think that's where you're really going to see the best from her. Secret Perfection is taking his place at Newcastle in the Class 1 handicap over the 1400 metres. Looks a lovely race for him. Looks well placed here. I was very, very keen and tempted to test him at the city grade, but just being an emergency from a wide draw, we've elected to go with the easier option. I think we can then look to link in town with him, but I do think he'll look well placed at Newcastle. I appreciate getting out to a bigger track, and importantly, the 1400 metres is an ideal distance for him. Alcabill's racing first up this preparation in a 1400 metre maiden plate at Newcastle. His trials have indicated that he's a horse that's going to appreciate racing over those middle distance trips, so not afraid to be starting him off over the 1400 metres here. With that, I do think he can and certainly be very competitive for you on debut. Always Shining is an interesting runner for us, a nice 2-year-old by Zavabil, having his first start over the 1300 metres. He is a horse that's going to keep improving with the experience and bred to be a middle distance horse. So once we can see him under those conditions, I think that's where we'll see him really develop and come into his own. But for now, he's coming off the back of an encouraging trial, but certainly one to follow later and deeper into his campaign. Not So Common is racing first up this preparation. Ballarat and maiden plate over the 1500 metres. He's had the 3 trials to give him a really good and solid grounding in preparation for this. So I expect him to be nice and fit and forward. He will appreciate that distance. Certainly feel he's trialled up nicely and is going there as forward as he can be for this first up test.